Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC. Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. Our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourselves enables you to grow others. You can't give what you don't have, in other words. So, first, you must grow yourself in order to grow others. We believe outstanding leaders like yourself help us to help others. So, tonight, we have another dynamic leader with us. Now, you know, every week I like to do a proper introduction of our guests. So let me introduce our special guest tonight. Ruth Carter Lynch is currently seeking the seat of elections supervisor for Broward County, Florida. Ruth Carter Lynch is a 30-year corporate professional and has a reputation of being very passionate, proactive, highly creative, and results-focused professional with an outstanding background of success. Ruth is married to Robert Lynch, and together they have 4 daughters and 10 grandchildren. Wow. That's a blessing. Ruth has resided in Broward County for over 20 years and has consistently mentored young women throughout Broward County. Ruth is a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, a certified Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, and has an MBA certificate in business management, executive leadership from St. Thomas University in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Ruth has a Bachelor of Science degree in social science from Alameda University. Ruth serves as the board secretary for the Board of Education Broward Education Foundation, and the chairman of Broward Education Facilities Committee, and is a member of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce Education Committee. She is also a member of the PHA Order of Eastern Star Golden Victor, number 44. She has served on the Florida Bar's Citizen Advisory Committee for 3 years, the first vice chairman of the Broward Democratic Party. She's chair and first vice chair of the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida, the chair of the Broward County's Charter School Task Force, and has served on the Broward County Schools Committee Budget Task Force. Ruth has also served as a secretary of the Affirmative Action Committee for the Florida Democratic Party. So let's welcome Miss Ruth Carter Lynch to the show. Well, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate. Yes, absolutely. I want to make one correction, Cedrick.
Mhm.
In the past, I'm not currently serving as the first vice chair or chair of the Broward Democratic of the Florida Democratic Black Caucus. I did do that a few years back, and I think it was 2012,
Okay.
2011 that I served as the chair and the first vice of the Florida Democratic Black Caucus for the state.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
awesome. Well, I know that when I was reading your resume and going through your bio, I could have been reading for the next hour. You have done a lot in your young 25 years. So again,
Thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, again, thank you for being on the show, and look forward to having a great conversation with you guys. And guys, feel free to put comments in the online, and we will try to get to some of those as we can. But we're going to start off with, what I want you to do is to start off by telling our listeners about your journey to leadership and how did you get to where you are today?
Whew. Okay, Cedric. I hope I can do that in the next 3 to 5 minutes. Trust me, my leadership journey started in Greenwood, Mississippi at the ripe old age of 16 when I actually marched with Dr. King during the Civil Rights Movement. grown exponentially since then. After leaving Greenwood, after going to college, Mississippi Valley State University in Greenwood, Mississippi, I, believe it or not, I was taken from Mississippi and to Los Angeles, California. So just think about that. That was a culture shock within itself. Sure. But with my leadership abilities, I went back to school because when I went to California, I realized my major in Mississippi Valley was biology, and you need a skill set. What are you going to do unless you go get your doctorate or something with biology or psychology? It's not a whole bunch you're going to be doing with that.
Right.
But what that did for me, though, it gave me a skill set in order to understand how to deal with people. Okay, so I went back to school and I got a legal secretary AA degree in legal secretary studies, and I got my first major job at MGM Studios in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, wow.
And I worked for the president of MGM Studios. So you can imagine, it was a good job for me because coming from Mississippi, I didn't even know any stars. So I was not starstruck. So I was a perfect person for that position because all I knew that I needed to do my job. And after being there for less than a year, the president of the company asked me to be his assistant, his personal assistant. And then he made me the union steward for the OPEIU, Office of Professional and Employees Union, while I was there. So that was a great experience. Left there because I was married, had a husband that worked for Mobil Oil. And when the corporations say go, what do? You say when and where. So we moved to St. Louis, Missouri. And after getting there, here I am again because I'm the wife. So I'm the one having to decide what to do with myself. So two things. One thing that I always do, Cedrick, I don't care where I go and what company I work for. I said retooling my skill set everywhere I go. So there I went to work for 7-Up Philip Morris Company, and I was the affirmative action administrator for that company. So the leadership is continuing and continuing and continuing. And after I left there, I went to work for Rita Patton and Associates, and I was the director of employee counsel, director and employee counsel, which led me to be the director of the call center for AT&T for over 500 employees. And I'm still in my 30s now, but leadership ability evidently was very apparent in every job I've been in. After that, I left and I went to Chicago, Illinois. And let me just say this. When I was early on in my career, people would ask me, they would look at my resume and say, wow, that just seems like you're kind of unstable. And about fast forward 2 or 3 years after that, you are so flexible. so it becomes beneficial to be able to adapt and to go into any environment and find your place and to excel at whatever. And one of the things that I understood early on is that if it is to be, it's up to me.
Sure. Yeah.
I cannot get distracted. Whenever in every company I've ever worked for, whatever certificate program they had, Cedrick, I took it. Regardless of what it was, if it was something that I could take and to hone my skills and learn more, I did that. And I made it a point to, back in the day, I would read 3 to 5 books a week. Wow. Just to keep myself abreast of what was going on, especially
in other words, you were trying to take advantage of the opportunities that you had.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And after, and when you're married to somebody that's moving, that the corporation is moving them around all of the time, you have to stay ready and prepared to do whatever is necessary in order to make yourself, to keep yourself relevant and to keep yourself okay in whatever environment it is. And what that did for me is, though, it did make me very flexible. It got to a point wherever I went, it was never am I going to find a job or can I find a job? It's like when or where. That's what
Wow.
happened. That's what I did my whole life.
So
Yeah.
I want to stop you right there because what I want to do is for people that are listening, especially millennials or the Generation G, is I want them to take note of what you just said here in taking advantage of your opportunities, but being very flexible versus being very rigid in what you do, because ultimately it creates more opportunities for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to be flexible. And one thing my grandfather told me, seniors, your parents, when you're growing up, you think that they don't know anything, that they can't walk across the street by themselves, but you learn really quickly that they know way more than you thought they did. My grandfather had a third grade education, a PhD in common sense, right? So he said to me, he would say to me, when I got my big job at MGM Studios and I went back home to Greenwood, Mississippi, and I thought I was all of that. And he said to me, baby girl, let me explain something to you. He said, whenever you sign on the back instead of the front of the check, you're not controlling anything but your mouth. And make sure you do that sparingly.
Wow.
So the moral of that story was strive, do what you have to do, but strive to eventually have your own. So as a result, here I am in Lauderdale Hill, Florida, and have been a business owner of my own business since 2004 when I left corporate America because my now 37-year-old graduated from college from Clark Atlanta University in 2004. And at that point, I could let go of the golden handcuffs.
Okay.
All you know right. Why we call them golden handcuffs?
Yes. But there may be somebody out there in the audience that don't know, so you might want to tell them.
Well, the golden handcuffs is what you have when you're looking for somebody else. It's just that simple. And this whole thing, this whole leadership piece is all about economics. It really and truly is. Mm-hmm. It's about economics and about you understanding where that fit into your life cycle. And I knew I had to work for corporate America until my youngest daughter graduated from college because that was a guaranteed check. See, when you start your own business, you are everything. The janitor, the cook, the cleaner, you're it for quite a while until you can get yourself sustained enough as a business owner to hire other people to do those things. Now, I chose, and I'm very purposeful in how I strategically position myself when I'm doing things. One thing that I knew that I did not want to have to worry about is had the livelihood of a whole lot of other people. So I knew when I started my business that I would be the only one that was on payroll for myself and possibly my husband if he wanted to come and work in operations with me. But everybody else would be a 1099 because I understood that eliminates a whole host of other issues that come along with that. Sure. And because of my communication and because of my facilitation skills, I went after jobs that only required me or one other person.
Okay. All right.
And the thing about that, let me say this, Cedrick, before we go. Mm-hmm. Great thing about that is I never had to advertise because of my wide breadth of globally. I never had to advertise. I came out of corporate America with 2 clients already because everything that I've done was by word of mouth.
Okay. All right. All right. So, what I want to do is to we're going to talk about leadership and we're going to talk about this office that you're running for. But before we get there, I just
Mhm.
want to make sure that our young people in the audience understand that you're going to be helping tonight them understand how to one rise up in the ranks, how to work progressively and intentionally in their careers to get to where you've come today. And we're not going to talk about everything on your resume, but we'll get to talk about some of those things so people can see the level of
Right.
intentionality that you had. And this is really what I want young people to see. So you're running for election supervisor down in Broward County. Tell us, why did you decide to
Right.
run for the elections supervisor?
Because after looking around, I've run for other offices too, but after looking around, this particular office best fits suits my skill set. Because let me just tell you what this office does, what the five components of this office are: administration, education, operations, facilitation, communication. Okay?
Okay.
Those are the five components of this office. And my skill set is ripe for this particular job. And I'll tell you why. Being a 30-year corporate veteran, this job is about people, processes, procedures, and performance. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
30 years in corporate America, working for a number of corporations. Human resource professional that takes care of the education, and the human resource factor. Lean Six Sigma that takes care of the processes and procedures factor. I knew exactly what I needed in order to do this job. And that's when I say, when you do things, you do it purposefully and strategically. And after I realized this is a job that I really wanted to do, I started designing my situation. And another thing, read, read, and read. If I can tell anybody anything, read everything within that's in that purview that you're trying to accomplish, where you're trying to go. Read everything you can, because it really it helps to see it from different perspectives. Because we're none of us are in a bubble. Like we were talking earlier prior to this, and I was telling you that we're in a global society, and the competition is great everywhere. So you have to really be in competition with yourself to see how better you can make yourself better. And I tell everybody, I retool all the time. Don't only know how to do one thing, unless that's an area that you are passionate about. That's an area that's all you want to do only. Then you need to spend your time doing that. And one of the things I have to tell, let's not get distracted. That's a major issue. Let's not get distracted by the pumping circumstance. When you're talking about leadership, let's talk about that for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
When you put yourself in a position where you want to go somewhere, and you plot that out, but don't get attached to the outcome. And what I mean by that, once you get attached to the outcome, you're only striving to do that, but you might get down the road a little bit and realize that you have to readjust or recalibrate the entire plan.
Mm-hmm.
And you will get distracted because you're still trying to reach this point. The other words, how did Dale Carnegie said, or he said, put your goals in concrete, and your plans in sand.
Yeah.
Because your plans can change at any given moment. I'm sure you've heard that.
Absolutely.
So keep that
Always
goal.
up with the goal, not the plan.
Right. Absolutely. So, but we get caught up sometime in the planning process. And
Mm-hmm.
another thing, once you get down the road a little bit when you're planning, don't be too proud to say, oh, wait a minute, this is not going to work. So maybe we need to readjust and re-strategize everything and start. And that's okay too. Failure is not a death sentence. It
Right.
really isn't.
Yeah, no, you're
You
absolutely
only
right.
only thing you did, you failed. You failed at that particular issue.
Right.
That doesn't mean you a failure. That means that that particular project failed. That's all it means.
Right. Absolutely. So
So I
people,
want young people to be okay with that. Be okay with not things not going perfectly like you want them to go.
sure, absolutely. So you said people, processes, procedure, and performance um,
Right.
are four critical components as to why you ran for the office. So
Right.
what are you going to be doing different, or what are you going to bring that's different than what the incumbent or any previous person has brought to this position? Now you're talking directly to Broward County
Well,
citizens.
since well, my first, and you had there was a question. My first 90 days. What do I plan to do? Well, let me make it perfectly clear. I don't plan to fire anybody. Let me just say that. First and foremost, some things that people, when they go into the office, they get rid of their intellectual properties and their historical knowledge. That's failure, corporate failure 101. You just don't do that. So my first 30 days, I will be doing. I have first 30 days. I will be doing a forensic analysis of that entire office, of all the process procedures from top to bottom. And you know what? And you don't fix situations from the top, it's from the bottom up. So that's my first 30 days. We'll be doing our analysis of the situation. And you know what? Even though I've studied this for the last 6 years, things have changed drastically. Now we have COVID to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
and we have social distancing, and there are other issues that have come about that nobody expected. So I might have to recalibrate my plan, even though I have one, once I get there, based on the new data that's going to come about as a result of the next two elections. So I might have to readjust and recalibrate. Now, in the next 30 days, I will be doing a complete audit of all of the positions in that organization from a human resource perspective, and making sure that everybody that are in those positions are best suited for those positions. That's one of the things that we have to do, because we don't want people not being able to grow. I definitely want to instill a culture of personal growth in that office. So that's the next 30 days. And 90 days in, what did I say? I will be developing a complete workflow process that connects all of the moving pieces. Because within that five areas of those five areas, there are 1,000 moving pieces. And one thing that I've noticed when I was going there, and sometimes people operate, and this is not just this office, it happens all over the United States. People operate within offices in silos.
Mm-hmm.
We have to make everybody understand and see how every job in that office directly or indirectly affect every other job. And that's what Lean Six Sigma does for you. It helps you to create a workflow process so people won't feel like they're in a silo. And during that time, by the end of the 90 days, I would like to have a robust training program where we're cross training employees. So we won't have a total breakdown at any given time. So that's one of the things. And I'm going to be looking into doing with vote by mail ballots is a big issue, according to the audit. It doesn't have a command process in place, a process of delivery, a command delivery process in place. So what I plan to do is to put a process in place where we're tracking those ballots from request to delivery. And we can know where that is at all times. So that's quite a bit in 90 days, Cedrick. I'm doing a lot.
Hey,
And with all of the other whatever.
Yeah,
You know, but I
definitely.
also have, and I've left room for contingencies because there, you never know what the contingency might be, and
Sure.
you have to leave room for that.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, that first 90 days is actually pretty awesome. Let me recap this just so that if there's someone that's just tuning in from Broward County and they didn't hear what your first 90 days is going to be. Well, first of all, she said, look, there's not going to be any firing. She's not coming in to fire people, right? So
Right.
understand that. Then in the first 30 days, she wants to do a forensic analysis of the office and its operations. Then she, in the next 30 days, which will be 60 days in, she wants to do a complete audit on every position and develop a culture of professional development, helping people grow. And the law of intentionality says growth doesn't just happen. We have to be intentional in order to make growth happen. So this is awesome. And then the next 30 days, that would be 90 days out, she wants to do a workflow processes to eliminate silos. So people, if you're working in silos today, what she's saying is she wanted, because nobody likes working in silos. So she wants to help eliminate those silos so that people are working together across departments, across divisions, within city and county and local government. That is awesome. And finally, she said she wants to build a robust training program. Now, anybody ought to be excited about that. So
That's my 90 days.
that's your 90-day. That's an awesome 90-day plan, Ruth. So I'll look forward to seeing you build that out. Leaders come in all different types of packages with different strengths. What strengths do you feel are important to be a successful leader, and specifically around this elections supervisor position?
Okay, I've been really, really giving that a lot of thought. And my leadership type is more of coaching, a coaching from the head and from the heart. I don't believe we should just just go in and just bombard people. I think we should do both. Let me just tell you what a good leader takes more than her share of the blame and less than her share of the credit.
Mm-hmm.
Take the front line when there is danger. I lead with my heart, not just with my head, helping others rise to the fullest potential. That in itself is one of my strong suits. I get joy in watching people striving to be their best self. I'm great with that. I'll articulate my vision clearly and forcibly on every occasion. I will be strong, but not rude, bold, but not a bully. I will be humble, but not timid, proud, but not arrogant. I always practice the 7 C's of leadership. And let me just expound on them just a little bit.
Sure.
The first one is character. The first one is character. Your character has to be intact in order for you to be a good leader. It really does. And I knew early on that I needed to make sure, because I have 2 daughters, Cedrick, and I didn't want to do anything that I would think that my kids would not be proud of, especially being girls. Because, kids do what we do, not what we say.
Right.
And we can talk till we blue in the watch what we do. That's the first thing. Second thing is commitment. Once I'm committed to a project, I'm in for the long haul. And that's that. My word is my bond. What you see is what you get. The third one is capacity. When we talk about capacity, that's what you and I were just talking about before. Making sure that I'm doing the necessary work to learn as much as I can learn about this. If that means taking classes, if that means, because you don't have to go get a whole bunch of degrees to do anything. You can take a class. That's certificates. I'm a certificate person. I have maybe 200 of them. over the years. So you can do that. Just make sure that you're honing your skills for the position or the area that you want to be in. That's capacity. Compassion. Compassion is something that we have to have, especially for others. You can be compassionate without being somebody that somebody feel like they can run over or feel like they can do any kind of, but you have to be compassionate for your people. The next one is communication. Say what you mean what you say. Be real clear. Clarity is number 6. Be real clear about what it is that you want people to do and what your expectations are of people. And have it so that people will be willing to come and say to you, because I always tell everybody that work with me, that have worked for me, look, if we're working on a task, and I look at them as my team members, but I understand and they understand, because if you are a good leader, you don't have to tell your employees every day that I'm the boss, or you don't have to use your title for that. They'll automatically know.
Right.
So that's not something you have to do. Consistency. That's a biggie. You cannot just change your mind every 5 seconds about anything. Just be consistent in what you're telling your employees and what you're telling your team members. Be real consistent, because then they can believe you. Because they'll say, I've had people say, if you ask Miss Ruth something, you can guarantee that she's going to be consistent about the way she does it. So that's what I try to practice.
So character, commitment, capacity, compassion, communication, clarity, and consistency. That's what is important for you as you go into this position. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, we know that good leaders ask great questions. And obviously, as the election supervisor, you're going to have to be asking a whole lot of questions to a whole lot of people. And obviously, people are going to be asking a lot of questions of you as well. Florida always seems to have problems in their election booths. So what has been some of the best questions?
Politics have strange.
Go ahead.
Politics have strange bedfellows. You know that.
Yeah, that is definitely true. So, what have been some of the best questions that you have asked that have made a big impact on your path to leadership?
On my path to leadership, one of the best one I've ever asked is so funny. And I always have to laugh about it, because Rosenfeld, my boss back at MGM Studios, and I asked him, we were in a meeting, and I asked him some questions during that meeting that I probably should not have asked. So after it was over, he came out and he said to me, Ruth, in the future, everybody don't have to know what you're thinking.
Well, that is definitely true. Sometimes you got to just hold it to yourself.
Yeah. I got the answers now. I got the answers that I wanted. But sometimes, in other words, at the end of the day, timing is everything.
Yes.
And what questions that you want to ask. If that's one thing I would have to say to everybody, because all the time, a lot of times I am one of those, I'm the Energizer Bunny. So I want to get things done fast. So I've been told also to slow it down, be easy. I want to get this done. And I'm done. Now, Ruth, stop. Think about what you're doing, and think about how it's going to impact the collective, not just about how it's going to impact you.
Sure.
Those are some of the questions that I've asked. Those are the answers that I've gotten.
Okay. All right. Well, we know that.
And so my first question.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say my first question when when I get to the office once I'm elected, my first question is going to be, okay, team, where do we start? You tell me where is the best place to start. I know what I want to do, but I need to consult with my team so we can make sure that we're starting off on the right foot, and that we're establishing a cohesive thought process.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, I know that this election is going to be serious, and it's, very important, and all this type of stuff. But, as a part of the process, it's also people like to vote for people they know, like, and trust, right? And you're going to be on a campaign, and you're going to be talking about things that people are going to get to know, and all this type of stuff. But here's a question that you may not get asked on the campaign trail. So I'm going to ask it here, so people get to know who you are. So when all the cameras go off, and it's just you and your husband and your 10 grandkids, what do you do to just like relax?
I read. I'm a reader. I'm a voracious reader. That relaxes me. And I have two things that I do that relaxes me. And this is going to sound so wifey like. I wash. I do laundry. Laundry relaxes me. I
Okay.
wash and I read.
Okay. All right. All right. So in between that washing and that reading, what's your favorite dessert that you eat?
My favorite dessert that I eat is my husband makes the best banana bread from scratch this side of the Mississippi.
Okay.
That's my favorite dessert.
Okay. All right. So y'all heard that when
I
y'all
married
invite
a
her
husband
to,
making I married a husband that can cook and bake.
okay, all right. Well, when you guys invite her to come and to your office or to your business to speak, have banana bread, and she'll be there. Um, so um, so I know that you guys are down there in Florida, and sports is big. So what's your favorite uh, uh, football team, pro football team, or college football team?
Of course, my favorite football team was the Delta Devils, Mississippi Valley State University.
Okay.
My favorite college football team now is Alabama because my son-in-law was a football player for Alabama University of Alabama. That's
Okay.
my favorite football team now. But let me just say this: prior in my last job, Cedrick, I was the corporate liaison for all of the 118 then colleges and universities in the whole United States of America. So my favorite team during that tenure was Florida A&M. And part of my job in the corporate was to make sure that the colleges that we supported the colleges, and I made sure that my school, Florida A&M, and as many historically black colleges that I could received at least $50,000 a year from my company. That was part of my budget to make sure that that happened.
Okay.
So Florida A&M was my favorite school during my last 7 years in corporate.
Okay. Well, I know that Dr. Greg Salters would like to hear that then.
My football team now, I've been in love with Pittsburgh Steelers since the fearsome foursome.
Well,
Okay,
awesome.
when
I
I was
like to
in,
hear that.
I had the opportunity to go to 3 of the Super Bowl games.
Okay.
Yes,
Well, that's good.
Lynn Swan and those guys.
I see Dr. Salters just put up there, fam.
Oh,
You
you're diehard.
on. um, so, um, so,
Okay.
so Nadia says, "Tell me about Snowy, please." I don't know what that means.
Oh, Snowy is my little doggy. She is rescue. No, yeah, she's a rescue. And Snowy is my campaign helper. She helps me make phone calls my campaign.
Okay.
And so since Snowy is is such a wonderful little puppy, and I just love Snowy. And I have pictures of Snowy. And Cedrick, I'll go on my Facebook page, and you'll see Snowy all over Facebook.
Okay.
Oh, and guess what? Tell Nadia, I just ordered Snowy a Black Lives Matters mask.
All right. Well, she's listening right now on Facebook, so she will hear you say that. All right. So now let's get back to this. Let's get back to the election here. What? Tell me, two or three things. What do you want the Broward County residents to do or to know about you?
What I want them to know about me, I know with all of the issues that we've had with the elections, let me just say this. Everybody want to act like it just happened. That office has been not so okay since the hanging chads, which was 2000, when during the Gore and the Bush election. That's when they really start getting the notoriety for being in disarray. And let me just say this: for 15 years for the 15 years that Dr. Snipes was in office, there's several things that she did that's noteworthy. One of them is she had a really good voter outreach program. She registered more voters during her 15-year tenure than any other supervisor of elections in Broward County. So and let me just tell you something. That piece is a major part of the job description, is registering voters. So I have to give her kudos for that. What I would like for them to know is this: I bring the skill set. I will make sure that they have an office that's transparent, that nothing but the truth all the time. It will be communicative. I will make sure that we have the process in place that they can be proud of. And I believe in the sanctity of the vote. And I would like to make sure that every voter in Broward County understands that they are our customer, and they will get the best customer experience possible when they come to do anything with the Broward County Supervisor of Election from this point forward. I know they want an office that's riddled with transparency, trust, integrity, and truth. And I bring all of that to the table.
Well, that is great. I know that that's great for them to hear, and I know they want to hear those type things. What can they do to get involved in your campaign?
What they can do to get involved, go to my website, and my website is voteforruth2020.com. It could be FOR or the number 4. And of course, my favorite slogan is, if you want the truth, you vote for Ruth.
If you want the truth.
And they can contact me.
Okay. All right. I like that.
She nudged me on that.
Vote for Ruth. And her website information is in the link below. And so I see you have a lot of fans on here. Rosalind Pratt is on here.
Yes, I can put it. So yeah, I'll put it in.
No, it's already there. We put it there already.
Oh, okay.
So where I know they can go to the website, but where do you have any offices located that someone can go to?
Well, let me just say that I did, but guess what? Because of COVID, we're not doing that. Okay. I do not, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Everything if they meet with them and give them the paperwork, or I'll email it or text it or what have you. But as far as putting, now I do have signs, and anybody that wants a sign in their yard, they can just text me the number 612-7592. COVID is real.
Wait, hold on a second.
People,
Hold on one second, because your sound went out. So give me the number again. I want to type it in.
Okay, 954-612-7592. And the location is 1299 Northwest 40th Avenue, Suite G. But I'm not going to be there until Dr. What's his name?
Salter?
Fauci? Dr. Fauci. Yeah, no, until Dr. Fauci says it's okay to do that. Because we just don't, I don't want to be, it would hurt my heart, Cedrick, for anybody to get COVID while working on my campaign. I just don't want to have anything to do with that. But if they do, we are going to do social distancing. I have sanitizer in the car. We will have my team drop the signs in their yard. They can always call me, and I return my calls within 48 hours. And I don't care who it is that calls me, I return phone calls all the time. And they can, if somebody would like to make phone calls, I have a team of phone bankers. And if somebody would like to make phone calls, I would appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Give us three things.
They can call, and I can email them a list in order to make those calls.
Okay. Give our citizens, Broward County citizens, three things that they would benefit, that Broward County citizens would benefit from with you being in office.
They will benefit. The benefit that they will have, they will definitely, they will get a process that will be able to eliminate, hopefully, all of the issues that are human related that we can fix. That's the one thing they'll get. Okay. Secondly, they'll get supervisor elections that is available. I will be available to talk to anybody and speak on behalf of Broward County Supervisor of Elections Office anytime I'm asked. And they will get somebody in that office that actually knows how to supervise, train both paid employees and volunteers, because those are two schools of thought. And they will get somebody that actually really cares about the people of Broward County, actually really cares that we are not the laughing stock of the world anymore. Definitely want to make sure we put ourselves in a position to be that shining light when it comes to supervisor of elections. Okay.
And so why do you care so much about Broward County?
Because this is where I live. This is where I live. This is where I breathe. This is where I do everything. This is where I interact. I just care about the people. And let me just say something really, really important. We have to make sure that we register people to vote, and that they understand that their vote is their superpower. Because that's the one thing that you have, that you and you alone make the decision about who you want to give that to. And collectively, if we all come together and use that superpower properly, we can change the world. That's why I care. That's why I care. And I also want to leave a legacy for our young people. And you had asked a question earlier, and we didn't get to it. And that is how do we see the next year? What are we doing about the next generation and getting them to understand the importance of voting? Mm-hmm. One of the things is this: we have to actually stop, Cedrick, and listen to them. Times have changed. They really have changed. We need to be there for the historical knowledge, and we need to be there for the access. We do not properly give the next generation access. There's no way that the person that, well, let's just say I decide to let's say after a few terms I'm gone. No person should have to come behind me and try to figure out what's going on. I should have given that person or whoever we should identify that whoever that's going to be. And I should have given them the opportunity to come in and to work with me and let me mentor them into that position. That's the way I see it. And because guess what? All of us have an expiration date, right?
Right.
We all have one.
Yeah.
And we just need to stop stop taking all of the novels that we have up here. We need to stop taking them to the graveyard. We need to leave them with our young people. And that's why I mentor.
And so you talked about voting. I love this about mentoring the younger
all the time. And let me give. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I love you talking about the younger generation. So what is it you're going to do to help younger people as well as the older generation to get to help them to register to vote or get to the polls and vote?
Well, here's the deal. Unfortunately, this go round, I don't have anything to do with how this pans out because I'm not in office. But I've already decided that we need to bring the new supervisor of election, the appointed supervisor of election. The first thing he did when he took office, he got rid of the voter outreach department. I plan to bring it back with a vengeance to have voter outreach throughout this whole entire county. We need that. We need to be communicating with the voters daily. So that's one of the things that I plan to do to make sure that people get registered to vote. And I plan to also to have within that department, and I have a written plan for that particular piece, by the way, but within that department, there's northeast, south, and west in this county. Not only am I going to make sure that the people that we put in place to do the voter outreach, I'm going to make sure, we need to make sure that they're conducive to the area that we're sending them to, that they understand what the needs are of that particular community. Because we have so many different communities and there are so many different needs. As a matter of fact, here in Broward County, Cedrick, we have 82 different dialects spoken in our school system.
Wow.
So this is the most culturally diverse place on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, one of them. And we happen to live it. So I've got to be concerned about everybody. And we have to put something in place that everybody can live with and that everybody can participate in. And I'm taking a look also, now I'm doing a little bit more research on the technology piece of it. And I'm also doing research on the language piece, because there's only so much that we can do, because this office is state statute driven. I want to make sure people understand that. There's a lot of rules and regulations that the state legislature has put in place that governs this office. And first and foremost, I have to make sure that I'm abiding by that. But within that, you have discretion. So I've got to sit down and decide and talk to the staff, and we figure out where we have the most discretion to make it more palatable for the voters of Broward County.
All right. And so a couple wrap-up questions here. So tell the audience, what are you doing to reach out to people on the other side? Because, one is too small a number to achieve anything great. So you have to reach out to your counterparts on the other side. What are you doing? What are you going to be doing to reach out to those people to help bring them into the fold to help you to be successful in office?
Well, here's the thing. This office, even though it has a Democratic title, this office belongs to every voter in Broward County. Every voter. That's Democrats, Republicans, MPAs, and other. Those are the categories that we have listed. That office belongs to everybody, and I guarantee them nobody will be treated any differently once I'm in office. It's not about the titles. It's about the people and what the people need. And what they need right now is a process that works. And that's for everybody across the board.
All right. So in our last 5 minutes here, look into the camera.
Okay.
Broward County citizens, I want you to pay attention. Ruth Carter Lynch is speaking directly to you, young, old, middle-aged, Republican, Democrats, independents, Black, white, Bahamian, Asian, whatever you are, whoever you are, LGBT community. Ruth Carter Lynch is speaking directly to you now. What's your message for them?
And hello. Thank you. Hello, voters, and thank you all for listening and tuning in. I am a 30-year corporate veteran. I bring 15 years of human resource experience, and I bring Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification. And let me tell you what that is. All that is people, processes, and procedures where we design everything to eliminate waste. That's what Lean Six Sigma is. Also, I understand this office, the 5 purviews: administration, facilitation, operation, education, and communication. And I plan to, within that purview, develop a process that you all can be proud of. I know that Broward County need an administrator who understands all 5 of those areas. And I do. I've done this all my life. So at the end of the day, I would ask you humbly for your vote on August the 18th. And please vote by mail if possible because of COVID 2020. And if you want the truth, vote for Ruth. Thank you so much.
Well, I love that. If you want the truth, folks, vote for Ruth. You see, Ruth Carter Lynch came here tonight to speak directly to you. She came here tonight to ask you for your vote, for your helping hand. If you want change, if you want the truth, vote for Ruth. I thank you for tuning in tonight, and I want you to make sure that you do go out and vote. Get your friends, your family, your relatives, everyone to go out and vote. If you don't vote, then you lose really your voice.
Yes.
So make sure that you maintain your voice if you want to vote. Here I have a couple of announcements before we wrap up. Winning with money is 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior. Those who control their finances control their life. Learn to develop the good habits of money management and investing in investing in yourself with this powerful webinar. Investing, the steps to 1 million will go through you. The steps to 1 million can only happen if you make it happen. The steps to 1 million is as easy as 1, 2, 3. The steps to 1 million is up to you. Saturday, July 25th, we will be hosting a no-charge webinar, and it's called Investing, the Steps to 1 Million. The link will be on the site, and I want you to go in and register for that. Again, it's totally no charge to you. And that will be Saturday, July 25th, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Tomorrow afternoon at 5:30 Central Time, we will have Miss Taliba Ndidi, also known as Benita Hawkins, from way back in the day, will be my guest. And then at 6:30 Central Time, the Black Entrepreneurs Institute will be live on the Empowered Living Network tomorrow at 6:30 Central Time. So tune into that. And then tomorrow, 7:30 Central Time, tune in to Talk with TK, where she's going to be talking about mindset through her Mindset 180 Academy. Always remember, folks, if you're not at the table, you are on the menu. Don't be on the menu. I want to thank you again for tuning in tonight. Thank you, and hopefully you will have a great evening.
Thank you. Good night.